Welcome to the Newsome MMA Podcast, partnered with Heavy Duty Fight Management. I'm your host, Jon Prentice, and today I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by none other than TUF 27 standout and current Cage Titan star, Joe Skeletor Giannetti. Now, Joe returns to action on June 15th when he takes on D'Juan Owens in the main event of Cage Titans 44, which goes down from the Plymouth Memorial Hall in Massachusetts. Joe, thank you for taking the time for joining me. How you doing, my friend?
No problem. I'm doing good. Just getting ready for the fight. Today's my rest day, so I'm feeling pretty good. Just getting ready for training tomorrow.
Excellent. Now, obviously, we're about 3 weeks out from the fight now. How's your camp going so far?
It's going great, man. I mean, my camps are usually different from everybody else. Everybody else kind of likes to wind down the closer they get to fight night. I like to ramp it up. I mean, I'm usually never injured going into a fight, so I'm trying to go as hard as I can until the very last moment.
Excellent, man. Now, so I understand you're over in California at the moment, training with the guys at AKA, obviously with your TUF teammate Luis Pena, and obviously the home of your coach DC, Cain Velasquez, things like that. I mean, how do you divide up your time between camps now? Is it your whole camp over at AKA, or do you split the time between home in Massachusetts and AKA? I mean, how's it working for you at the moment?
So for the most part, I try to aim between 3 to 4 weeks out here at AKA, and it's usually my last 3 to 4 weeks, just because the harder work gets me in even better shape than I was before I came out here. So I make sure that the end of my camp is at AKA, so I'm in prime shape for fight night. So the past 2 camps have been, I'm always training when I'm at home, but in fight camp, I was in camp for about 4 or 5 weeks at home, and then 3 weeks out here.
Excellent. I mean, like you just said, AKA, the guys there are known for their cardio, DC, Cain Velasquez, Khabib. I mean, is that why you chose AKA? Does that suit your style, that pressure style, the never-ending, exciting, flashy stuff? I mean, you've got cardio for days. We've seen that before. Is that why you chose AKA, or was it just the bond you formed with those guys while you're on The Ultimate Fighter?
I think it was both. It was a mix of the bond I formed with everybody from the show, and then just a matter of them matching my style. I mean, like, they have that gritty wrestler mentality, but they're bringing it from everywhere, on the feet, on the ground, in the wrestling exchanges. So it's like just adding that grittiness to my style is just going to help so much.
Excellent. I mean, so what do you know about your opponent, Owens? I mean, he's very experienced. I think he's got something like 31 fights under his belt. I mean, what do you know about him going into this fight, and how do you see your skill set matching up against his?
Owens is honestly just the type of opponent that I want. I mean, if I was still in the UFC, I'd be fighting experienced guys. So it's kind of like a warm-up to the UFC. I mean, I'm fighting Owens, who's, like you said, 31 fights. I mean, he's not going to quit. He's going to go all 3 rounds if the fight lasts that long. And I don't think he's going to slow down or break, which is what I want. I want to break him. I don't want him to start fading if, we're deep into the third and he's like, oh, I can't get a finish, and he kind of quits. I mean, I don't want that. I want to break somebody. I want to be the guy that shows up and puts you away, just like I have before. It's good. It's a good warm-up, and I think that if I can get past Owens dominantly and finish him, I think that I'll be ready to be back in the UFC.
Excellent. I mean, how do you see the fight playing out between the two of you? Do you like to go in there with a prediction, or do you just like to kind of see how it feels when you're in there and see how the flow is and things like that? I mean, have you got a prediction?
It depends from fight to fight. Some guys, I mean, I can just read really well and I can call my shot how I'm going to beat him. And some guys, it's not a disrespect thing, but some guys just are more well-rounded. I mean, I don't think D'Juan is a specialist anywhere, so I think this fight could end at any time from anywhere. But I mean, I'm always in there with the same mentality. I'm going to try and get him out of there first so I can go celebrate.
Now, you mentioned a minute ago that you think an impressive victory here will be that ticket back to the UFC. I mean, for you, do you think the activity and fighting regularly after a release from the UFC is key to getting back in there? Because we've witnessed it before with the likes of Julian Erosa. He got cut from the UFC and he fought 6 or 7 times over a 12, 18-month period. You yourself, you fought obviously to a draw with Josh Harvey, Cage Titans 41 in November. Then you're straight back in there, Cage Titans 42 in January. Got the 3rd round victory over Conor Barry. And again, you're fighting now. I mean, 3 fights in a very short period of time. Do you think that's key, just to keep fighting regularly, keep getting those wins under your belt, and you'll constantly be on their radar again?
Yeah, I definitely think that's the key. But that's not really why I do it. I mean, that's just the way I am. If you look at my fights prior to TUF and even now, like you said, I'm just always active. I mean, if I'm not fighting, then I'm really not doing much. I'm just working and training. So it's like having a fight lined up, it gives me, it's not like I train harder when I have a fight because I'm always training hard, but it gives me something to aim towards, gives me a goal. And when I keep achieving my goals, it just gets me closer and closer to the main goal, which is the top of the UFC. It's not just the UFC. I'm aiming for the top. So if you don't fight regularly and you just got cut from the UFC or you're aiming for the UFC, you need to fight regularly, in my opinion. But I mean, even right now, I'm not fighting as much as I'd like to. I was trying to fight back in April, unfortunately couldn't find a fight. So I was trying to be more active than I actually am. But I mean, yeah, even when I get back to the UFC, if I can do it, if I can get in and out of fights without getting hurt, I'll fight as much as I want if they're going to keep throwing me fights. I mean, I just think that's if you have a style that fans like to see and you can keep fighting, why not keep fighting? Make your money, put on a show for the fans.
Excellent. I mean, you have been super active on social media, calling for those short notice fights. You've thrown your name into the hat multiple times. You're constantly on at Sean Shelby and the guys at the UFC. The fans want to see you back in there as well. I mean, have you had any contact with representatives from the UFC? Have they given you an indication of when this fight impresses you and will give you the call up, or is it just a matter of wait and see how it plays out?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that they've said to me lately is just is stay active, keep fighting. I'm on the radar. They know who I am. They're still watching. So the relationship with the UFC is good. It's just a matter of showing them what I say I am. I'm trying to tell them me on the finale. That's not who I am as a fighter. It was not to say a fluke, but I've never had a bad performance. Unfortunately, that was my bad performance. And that's what I'm just out here to prove now. Like, they've heard me say it. They've seen me say it. Now it's just time to go out there and show them that I'm not that kid that showed up at the finale.
I saw the other day that you even called for a fight in the weight class above just to obviously get in there and throw down. And am I right in believing that you may have a second name besides Skeletor of Cheeseburger Joe when you're fighting up at welterweight? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, that's true. My first 4 pro fights, we couldn't find any fights at 55, so I took them at 70. And I was training so hard and doing so much cardio, I was too light. So I was going to Five Guys once or twice a week and eating burgers to, stay bulked up. And just kind of came around. My friends just started calling me Cheeseburger Joe.
That's awesome, man. So if we ever see you at 170 again, we'll see you coming out to the nickname Cheeseburger Joe from now on.
100%. I have to.
Awesome. Now, I saw that you even threw your name into the hat to fill in at short notice at UFC London. I mean, he's fighting in the UK in front of your UK fans. High on the to-do list for you? Because I know you've got a lot of fans this side of the pond, man. We love your fighting style, and we want to see you back at the very top level. Is that on your to-do list to get over here and fight in the UK?
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I've never even left the country, so not only to just, spread my name and put on a show for you guys out there, like, it'd be an experience for me just as much having you guys cheer for me. I mean, I fought in America every single fight, never left, but to be over there and have you guys cheering for me, that'd be a brand new experience that I'm looking forward to.
Excellent. Now, I don't want to dwell too much on your time in the UFC because obviously you spoke about that before. But I mean, just how disappointing was it for you to get released after the TUF finale, given the fact that you performed so well on the show, beating John Gunther in 17 seconds, Alan Zuniga you defeated in the first round, and you've got fans worldwide with your exciting style. I mean, none of your fights that you've been involved in have been less than exciting. I mean, how disappointing was it for you to get that news after that fight, which you just mentioned was just an off day for you?
I don't know. It was a weird thing, man. I mean, so like the way that I found out was I pretty much just got a phone call telling me, but I'd actually missed the call because I think it was after training on a Saturday or something. I took a nap. I was exhausted, and I woke up and I saw the phone call missed, and I was like, "Oh, that's the call." I already knew it. Answered the phone, figured out I was released. I can't really say I was surprised, just because, like I said, I've wrestled in high school. I lost all the time. Losing isn't heartbreaking for me. It's just, get back on the horse, win next time, whatever. It was my performance that had me so upset after the finale, and I told everybody I was going to get cut. So when I was told I was actually cut, I wasn't super surprised. I was more disappointed in myself. just because like I knew that was my big break and I let it slip away. So, but like I said, I had to get right back on the horse. So I found out, went for a half-hour walk, shut my phone off, sat down, thought about it, and then the next day I was in the gym.
Something I did want to ask you about today, some news that we've seen going around social media is that Elias Theodorou has been cut from the UFC. I mean, he was another guy who had a good record. He was going into his most recent fight on a win streak. I mean, just how much does it matter to fighters to put on that exciting style? Because, like I've mentioned so many times, you have got an exciting style, and some people have criticised Theodorou's style. I mean, do you feel bad when you see guys like Theodorou getting cut after one loss? I mean, obviously you've experienced the same thing, getting cut after one loss. And I mean, just what's your take on that whole situation?
I mean, I definitely feel bad, man. I don't wish anybody to lose their job. I mean, that's something that like a lot of people don't think about when they see a fighter they don't like get cut. They're like, oh, about time, screw that guy, da 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 da. But it's like that's someone's job. Like that's their living. That's how he or she provides for their family. So I mean, it sucks. I definitely feel bad for him. But like on the other side of the coin, it's a sport and that's your job, but it's a fight. I mean, you're going out there and you're supposed to be not necessarily hurting people, but trying to finish people. I mean, I know when I go out there, there's certain guys that I fight that I'm like, oh, I probably have to outpoint them, but I'm still not going to try to. I'm still going to go out there and try and finish you, because if it were outside of the cage and we had a problem, you don't win on points. There's no judges. You're there to fight. So I go in there to fight. I go in there to finish, and I do it for the fans. I get sometimes you got to fight the smart way to get the win, but I just never really saw Theodorou come out there looking for a finish. He never really had that hunger. So, I mean, I can get why they cut him, but I honestly think he probably should have gotten a few more fights, especially being ranked 15 in the world.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, just going back to the Ultimate Fighter experience for you, I mean, what was that like just in general for you at such a young age, going into a show like that? Obviously, training with guys like DC, Cain Velasquez, those guys from AKA, and obviously you've made some real friends. You can tell from the show, Luis Pena. Obviously, I saw a bit of back and forth on Twitter the other day with him calling you Rose Namajunas and things like that. So, are you obviously boys? I mean, do you still keep in touch with many other guys from the show? And just what was the whole experience like for you?
The whole experience was awesome, man. I mean, it kind of came at like a perfect point in my life. I mean, I was undefeated at the time. I was kind of like the up-and-comer locally. And it was just that point in my life where I had to start cutting people out. People that I thought had my back that really were just preying on my downfall. They wanted me to fail because they weren't doing anything with themselves. People that were super close to me that I never thought I'd cut out. So, being alone for 6 weeks and like realizing I don't need those people in my life and I can do so great without them, it was awesome. I mean, like you said, I made friends with everybody on the team, some guys from the other team, but I went home and I cut so many people out of my life. And, they think it's, oh, he made it big time, so he's trying to cut people out. But it was more like, no, you're toxic. And I took those 6 weeks by myself to reflect and realize that. So it was cool. Now I'm out here at AKA. I'm training with Luis. I'm training with D'Juan, DC, Cain, guys that, guys I met on the show and guys I've been watching on TV for years. So it really came at a perfect point in my life. Whether I made the UFC off the show or not, it's only helped my career.
Now this question, I genuinely think you're the perfect person to answer this question, because you're 23 years of age, you've got 9 pro fights under your belt already, 7-1-1 record. Obviously, we spoke about the whole incident with the UFC getting cut after one fight, after performing so brilliantly on the show. You've previously discussed about overcoming obstacles, such as I think you said that you lost your first 30 wrestling matches, if I remember reading correctly. I mean, what advice would you give to a young fighter coming up in the sport? Because this sport has so many highs and lows, and you gave me a fantastic answer a minute ago in saying that that you kind of take the lows on the chin and dust yourself off and get back in there. I mean, what advice would you have to young fighters coming up in this sport?
Somebody starting out or somebody that's already a couple fights deep and it hasn't gone well, just be humble, man. Put your head down. Like your time will come. I mean, before the show, I wasn't really the guy that people were like UFC, but they knew like, oh, this kid's beating everybody. Like they weren't really pushing me because, I didn't have a thing that like, I didn't stand out too much. I'm a normal looking dude, not shredded, don't got a 6-pack or abs, but I bust my ass and I beat everybody I fight for the most part. But I mean, I listen to everybody. Somebody that walks in the gym that, oh, I'm a D1 college wrestler, but I've never trained anything else. I'm going to listen to that kid when it comes to his wrestling. Like, I don't put myself above anybody. Everybody says something, even somebody who's never trained. If they're like, oh, maybe this will work better, I'll listen to it and I'll think about it. I try and take advice from everywhere because, everybody knows something you don't. Whether they're saying it at the right time or not, doesn't matter. Everybody knows something that you don't. So I try to learn and take info from everybody. And, my time's going to come. I mean, it seemed like it was right after the show. Obviously, it wasn't. But my time will come.
Excellent, man. That's awesome. And now, just quickly, outside of fighting, I know that you like to kick back. You do a lot of gaming, Fortnite in particular. I mean, eSports is very big at the moment. Is that something you consider doing? I mean, we've seen guys like Mighty Mouse has done good things, got a lot of money from his streaming of his gaming and stuff like that. I mean, is that something you've thought about? Is that something you get involved in?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but I mean, I don't really think that I'm much of a competitive gamer in a lot of games. I mean, like, my best game would probably be either like Halo or Call of Duty. Fortnite, I kind of just play for fun. I like when I post about it, it's just me doing cool, fun stuff. I mean, me and my friends just have a blast with it. So, like, if there ever comes a point where me and my friends can make some money from having fun, then I'm definitely down for it. But as far as being one of the best gamers in the world, I don't think that'll ever be me.
Now, finally, just before I let you go, enjoy the rest of your rest day. Do you have any final messages for your opponent, your fans, your sponsors, the UFC? I mean, the floor is now yours, man.
I mean, for Owens, just come ready to fight. I mean, I want your A game. I want the best. I mean, I want the best from everybody I fight. I don't want to catch anybody on an off day. I want to beat the best version of you. To my fans, the ones over the pond, I'll see you soon. I will be on a UFC card over there one day. Everybody here, get your tickets if you're in my area. If not, watch the fight. After I win, let the UFC know. Let Sean Shelby know. Skeletor's back. And all my sponsors on it, Defense Soap, Impact Mouth Guards, Receptor CBD. You guys are the best, and I'm going to make everybody proud.
Excellent, man. Now, Joe Giannetti, thank you very much for your time. We can't wait to see you in your upcoming bout. That's June 15th. Everybody make sure you check out on Cage Titans. It's going to be a fantastic fight, and no doubt you'll put on a show for us. From all of us over here in the UK, big thank you for taking your time out of your rest day to speak to us, and we wish you all the best, man.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.